Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Xony, and today we're going to have some more stories from Reddit. But before we start, it would be so much appreciated if you would subscribe to my channel, like the video if you enjoy it, and maybe leave a comment down below. These simple clicks would mean a lot to the future of this channel and really reward the effort that I put in every day. And now without further, let's go. Now let's get into the second story. My girlfriend and I had been together for almost 4 years before everything ended. We met casually through some mutual friends when they both invited us to a haunted house attraction for Halloween. Everybody else was there with their partner, so that left us alone a lot of the time. There was a beer garden at the attraction, and she and I ended up separating from the rest of the group to go there. We talked about everything while we hung out. At the end of the night, we exchanged numbers and started dating officially. She moved in with me a year and a half after we started dating. Growing up, I never knew my dad. There had been many times in my life when I wanted to figure out who he was. The story I was told growing up was that he and my mother had been dating when she got pregnant with me. She is a devout Catholic, so the only option was to go forward with the pregnancy. He didn't want that. He tried to encourage my mom to have an abortion, so she told him that she didn't want anything to do with him. She gave birth to me and raised me as a single mother for the first 12 years of my life. Then she met my stepdad, and they had more children after me. No matter how much I asked her to tell me who my father was, she would always refuse. I had eventually resigned to never knowing the truth. It was my girlfriend who convinced me to try and find out again. There was a death in my family. One of my cousins had cancer and they passed away. That really got me thinking about other illnesses that my family might have. My girlfriend and I went to my mother and approached her about telling me who my father was from that angle. I needed to know if I had a history of any major illnesses in my blood. I also told her that it would be good to know when I wanted to have kids. That was the icing on the cake for her, and she decided to tell me everything. She gave me his name, and I finally reached out to him. He was receptive to meeting me, which I was afraid that he wouldn't be. My girlfriend came with me to the lunch that we had scheduled. It was strange seeing him for the first time because I could see just how much I looked like him. After everything, it was extremely emotional for me, and I didn't know how to process everything. My girlfriend was there for me, and she comforted me through everything. About a week after our first lunch, my biological father reached out to me again and asked me if I wanted to see him again. Apparently, he felt very bad after our first meeting and had decided he wanted a chance to get to know me. Girlfriend encouraged me to try. I invited her to come along with me because it was difficult for me to do it alone. All three of us went fishing out on his boat and we had a good time. We drank a few beers and we all talked. He told me all about his family. He was married and he had 3 kids, much younger than me. He explained that he just wasn't ready to be a father when my mom was pregnant. Before we parted ways for the day, he and my girlfriend exchanged numbers so we could all find time to meet his family. I wanted to meet my half-siblings and my girlfriend was the organized one between us. A few weeks went by and I hadn't seen him, but we had been texting every so often to keep in touch. My girlfriend told me that they were planning a dinner at the end of the month at my father's house. I work in construction and I was doing a job where I was about 50 feet in the air when I dropped my phone on concrete. When I looked at it again, it was completely trashed. The screen was virtually untouchable because of the glass. I got a new one as soon as I could and transferred everything over from my old phone. I moved the SIM card over for a quick transition. There were a few contacts that weren't saved to the SIM card that I needed to add to the phone again. One of those was my biological father. I got home later that day and my girlfriend was taking a nap on the couch. I needed my father's number so I could let him know that I had a new phone in case he needed to reach out to me. I knew my girlfriend's phone password and I had used her phone countless times before, so I didn't think anything of it when I grabbed it to send myself the contact information. When I clicked on his name and the contacts, I saw a long call history between both of them. It immediately caught my attention because she had never told me they had been having conversations with each other on the phone. I walked into the other room and looked through the message and called log to see exactly what was happening. Their messages began the day that we all went on the boat together. A few hours after they exchanged numbers, my father texted my girlfriend and told her that I was lucky to have her. It started off friendly and she thanked him, saying that she was lucky to have me too. Then my father started getting very flirty with her. He told her how beautiful she was and how if I didn't treat her right he might have to step in. It was weird to see because I knew that he was married with children. My girlfriend replied and told him that she would be happy to let him step in if needed. From there, other messages were very suggestive. They were always tiptoeing around overtly saying that they wanted to sleep with each other. It was pretty obvious what was happening, but it didn't seem like it was anything other than flirting until my father sent my girlfriend a picture of himself. It was a nude photo where he told her that a new picture she uploaded to Instagram had really turned him on. My girlfriend told him that she was glad it did, then sent him some other pictures of herself. There were videos and audio recordings and dozens of pictures between them. I clicked on one of the videos that my father sent her. It was him telling her about all the filthy things he wanted to do to her when they finally got together. I could hear kids running around in the background outside of the room he was in. It was clear through the messages that they hadn't actually met to have sex in person yet. They were planning on sneaking away to his boat while everybody was at his house. Before my girlfriend woke up, I put her phone back and pretended like I didn't see anything. I was extremely hurt by everything. My father had known that I existed my entire life and pretended like I didn't. Now that I finally had the opportunity to reach out to him, he betrayed me once again by hitting on my girlfriend. And my girlfriend knew how important it was for me to meet him and decided to sleep with him. I felt massively betrayed by both of them. I knew right away that I wanted to make them suffer for their choices. The dinner was only a week away, so I sucked it up and pretended like everything was fine until then. The day of the dinner, I restrained myself and made it through the meal without lunging across the table to attack my father. I spent a lot of time getting to know my stepmother and I felt bad for her about everything. Honestly, if he messaged my girlfriend after knowing her for such a short amount of time, I wouldn't have been surprised to find out that he had other affairs in the past. After dinner, we decided to put on a movie and watch it together. My dad said that he wasn't particularly interested in watching the movie and he had some things that he needed to wrap up on the boat. He excused himself from the movie and nobody questioned it. About 15 minutes into the movie, my girlfriend said she got a phone call. I didn't see her phone ring or light up. It was her cover to go outside and meet my father. She was gone for about 3 minutes and I turned to my stepmother and mentioned that it was weird that she had been gone for so long. All of the kids had already fallen asleep on the couch, so I was thankful that I wouldn't disturb them by causing a scene. I told her that I was going to go check on my girlfriend and she paused the movie to give me a moment. I already knew that I wouldn't see her on the porch, but I looked anyway and went back in and I told her that she was gone. She was concerned, so she walked outside with me to look for her. She was the one who suggested we go ask my father if he'd seen her, so I followed her to the boat where we both knew he was working on something. As soon as we opened the door to the lower level, we could hear very obvious sex noises. She yelled my father's name and the sound stopped. It took a minute, but he came to the door of the bedroom and asked her what she needed, like she was disturbing him. She asked him what he was doing and he told her he was rearranging furniture. I almost wanted to laugh. I asked him if my girlfriend was down there with him and he tried to say that was ridiculous. I pushed past him and opened the door to find her trying to put her clothes on as quietly as possible. A four-way argument broke out between everybody as everything unfolded. Honestly, even though I had a suspicion that we were going to find out what we did, my reaction was pretty natural. I was hurt and I was angry and I let that show. Nobody had any idea that I had almost planned for us to see what we did. My stepmom kicked my dad out of the house that night, and I went back to our apartment to pack a bag and get away. I couldn't be around my girlfriend after what happened. I ended up moving out of the apartment entirely a few weeks later. I found out that my dad had been looking for a place to crash, so my girlfriend invited him there. They were seeing each other for a couple of months, and my girlfriend got pregnant. It seems like my dad had a bit of a pattern in how he went about things. He told her that he already had children, and he was trying to reconcile things with his wife. He couldn't do that if he had another baby in the picture. He tried to deny it, and he even tried to convince her to get an abortion. She didn't want to do that. As soon as I found out what happened, I informed my stepmother about it so she would be aware that he was going to try to lie to her. She thanked me for the information and assured me that she would be staying far away from my father. All of the friends that my girlfriend and I had together were appalled by what she did. They didn't understand how she could sleep with somebody who had such a fragile relationship with her boyfriend, and they thought she was heartless. A lot of them stopped talking to her after everything. She did end up having a child with my father, but he wasn't in the picture. My father divorced his wife and was forced to pay child support and alimony from his paychecks to her. On top of that, because a DNA test proved that he was the father of my ex-girlfriend's child, he was forced to pay child support. I highly doubt he was saving any of his own paychecks,